Hello, listeners. It's founder file time again on Women Are Good Business. And this week we have the brilliant Rachel with us. So, Rachel, I'm going to hand it over to you. Tell us a little bit about you and what your business does and how you started it.
Yes, so I own Systems Rani, which is a business that helps service businesses with their streamlining their processes. Usually, that's one of two situations. One, they have been working out of spreadsheets and they know that that's not sustainable anymore. So I help them find the platform that's going to work for them, translate their processes into it, and train them on it. Or the other case is that they already have the platforms, but they're not connected to each other. So their CRM doesn't speak to their accounting tool, and so they're putting in the same information multiple times in multiple places, lots of duplication of effort, and I build those connections between those tools so that they don't have to do that anymore and they can free up their time. There's Teams time. So yeah, that's what Systems
Brilliant.
Runny does. How it started was I had gone on maternity leave. I came back to the job that I had at the time, and within the first week of me being back, I got really ill, and I had to go to the A&E, and I was into the hospital. Um, they released me, and then 2 weeks later, I was back in the hospital, really, really ill. They found that I had a growth on my liver, um, which they at the time thought could be cancerous. It ended up not being, but we didn't know that yet. And at the same time, my daughter had just started going into nursery, so she was getting sick constantly.
Of course.
And between my health and her health, I missed 17 days of work in the first 3 months back. So management was pulling me into meetings about my attendance, and I just felt it wasn't handled that well, because I was being talked to a lot about the needs of the business and all this stuff, and there was just a lot of stuff going on in my personal life on top of the health risk that I was so worried about, and I just felt like I can never let myself be in this position again where I need to be worried about my income when I have so much else going on. Um, and so I quit and I started Systems Ronnie instead. So, yeah.
So I think that is not an unfamiliar journey for women, especially, which is the corporate world, especially once you start having children and a family and responsibilities. Sometimes it just doesn't fit if you don't have a great employer. Um, so where did the inspiration for the actual business idea come from?
So I've been in operations 20 years now, almost 20 years at the time. And I had just seen the same issues over and over again. I worked in very many different forms of operations, so retail, hospitality, corporate, um, theme park. I worked at Disney World for a while. They all they all have the same issues, the same gaps where things fall apart. And in those positions that I had, whether it was management or not, I always tried to do what I could. And some team management teams were more open to that than others. Um, but I just really felt like if I was going to start to do something, I really wanted to work with those businesses that do want to change, like that do care about those gaps and they do want to make it easier for their teams to work. Um, because it's not that the people aren't good at what they're doing, it's just that the systems are so bad. Like, just so inefficient. And it's not just about efficiency, but just like the relief that your team can have if they don't have to do so much of the same work over and over and over again. Yeah.
And how did you get it? You clearly came from with that wealth of experience. The situation with your employer gave you the urgency. How did you get it from ideation to your first customer?
So I actually, even though that's kind of, it's all come together now, when I very, very first started, I had a little bit of imposter syndrome, I guess. And I was like, how can I prove that I have this experience? I had briefly worked in a marketing office and I thought maybe I'll just start with marketing offers. So I started as a marketing calling myself like a marketing assistant, and I joined a work group that had warm leads in it because I felt like if I could get in front of people, I would be able to get work. And that is what happened. I applied to some warm leads that came through there. And then I also had some people come through Instagram really early on, which was great. And even though I was calling myself a marketing assistant, it's still, I found that what I ended up getting hired for was automations, funnels, and building that. And like, I was like, okay, I think this is what I really need to do. And it just kind of spiraled from there into more, because in the beginning I was working with like solopreneurs with those kind of things, but now it's gone more into teams and businesses that have been around for like 5 to 10 years usually. So they have admin help, they have those kind of marketing help and stuff like that, and just making sure everything's flowing. But that's kind of how it started as marketing and then just amped up to full on systems.
I love it. So kind of what you were doing when you kind of put yourself out there and clearly it resonated with people with, getting leads off things like Instagram, like actually people going, oh yeah, I need this. It's quite satisfying, isn't it? And when early on in a business, the thing you think needs solving, people go, yes, I need that solving.
Yeah. And it's still satisfying today. Usually when I explain what I do, for the most part, people are like, "Oh yeah, I bet you really." Yeah.
Yes, the operating everything off a spreadsheet very much resonated with me. Um, so you've obviously will have had highs and lows over that journey. So tell us a little bit about like your highest high and your kind of the time when you thought, you said you had a bit of imposter syndrome, and the time you thought, what am I doing?
Um, I know my high is I was giving a presentation to a foundation that I had been working with. I had been working with the department heads pretty much through the whole project. So the CEO had been kind of in the dark of what was actually happening. And this presentation was to let the CEO kind of know what had all been done. And at the end of it, she actually put like her hand in her head in her hands and was like, "I'm so happy I could cry. I have been," she said, "I've been wanting things like this in place for 4 years and I haven't been able to do it." And they had hired people in the past. And she was like, "You just don't know what this means to me to see that this is all happening now." And just like that relief is definitely, that is like the point. That's what I want
Mm.
to be doing. So that was like a huge high to see like in front of me how much of an impact the work I was doing had had. Um, a low, I mean, I think entrepreneurship, everything ebbs and flows, right? So there have been times that I've been like really excited to work on a project and then they decided not to move forward. Um, or I've had a couple of people tell me that my prices were too high. Um, so I think that would probably be my low, because then it does make you question a little bit, even if you know
Mm.
that they're not. Like I do a lot of research around my rates and stuff like that. So I always know before I've quoted something that it is like a market, like it's not exorbitant or anything. But yeah, it's still some people get very angry. And so it does make you like, ooh, what kind of question. But then I just remind myself that I didn't make this number out of nothing. I
Don't just make it
I
up,
know,
yeah.
yeah. I know the depth of what I'm like bringing into the project, so I just charge what I'm worth, and that's not for everyone, and that's okay. That's just what I have to remind myself. But it is hard to hear when it's happening.
Yeah, and I think that kind of setting a rate is a really important one, I think, especially for women, because I think it's very easy for us to undersell ourselves and undervalue ourselves, especially when you bring in a little bit of that kind of, inner critic, imposter going, oh, can I do this? Can I do this? Even though all the evidence says you can. Like, if you were giving advice to other women who are, or anyone, but obviously most of our audience is women, who are like trying to set those rates and get comfortable with the fact that if someone says no because you're too expensive, that's okay. Like, what advice would you give to other founders?
Yeah, I think it's just that you are not for everyone, and your ideal clients will not do that to you. If you know that you're charging a fair rate, the people that you want to work with will be fine with that rate. If they're not happy with it, you don't want to work with them anyway. And that's okay. Sometimes it's just not a good fit, and that is okay. Even if you were excited about the project,
Mm.
it's all right.
I think that's a really, really good point because I think that that piece around I'm a great believer in like serendipity and things happening for a reason, and if someone either can't afford to pay what you need to be paid and deserve to be paid or don't want to, I love the framing, which is then it's not for me and something else will come along and actually that's okay. And I think that's quite a hard thing to get comfortable with.
Yeah.
The
And I
temptation to kind of go, oh, I'll discount all this just to get the work.
I think there's an option that like a lot of people don't seem to realize is that sometimes if they're angry or whatever, that's just it's not a good idea. But I have had people come back to me and been like, I really, really want to work with you. This is a bit out of my budget. Is there anything we can take out that would make it less right now and maybe we could reduce
Right.
it?
Yeah.
And sometimes I've offered that too if they've come back and been really nice and been like, I really loved talking to you. I would really love to work with you. I just can't afford this right now. I'd be like, I've offered that too. Like, I could make this more affordable if we take away this piece of the project. So I'm not
Yeah.
discounting my work, but I am taking away some of the work that maybe isn't vital to what they needed right now. And that has worked like that there, and it shows like my willingness to be a bit flexible with them without discounting my rate, which people don't seem to realize is an option. I've noticed.
Yeah.
You
And I
can,
think that language is really important, right? Because it's not about discounting, it's about providing some of what they need within the budget that they have.
yeah, exactly. Like I can work within your budget. It's just that sometimes people, when I always ask them up front what their budget is, but a lot of people will be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and that's okay. And I always try to be clear about that too. Like, I'm going to send you this proposal, and I'm very thorough. I always get that feedback. Is my proposals are always very thorough because I break down everything so that you can tell me, well, you're charging this much for this, but I don't think I need this. Okay, and we can talk about it. And if I do think it's a vital piece, I will say why I think that's a vital
Yeah.
piece of what you need. Or if okay, maybe you don't need all of this, but you just need a piece of it, that would be this much versus what I quoted you for the full amount.
Mm.
And there is some room to negotiate without having to feel like you're discounting for sure.
Yeah. And I think that's a great learn as well. And as you said, that's definitely a journey that we all go on. And as we go through what is the real hustle of securing work and contracts, if you could go back now to that, relatively new mum, been poorly, daughters in the joy of kids when they first start nursery and the plethora of things they come home with. Um, if you could go back to her knowing what you know now, like what's the piece or couple of pieces of advice or tips that you would give her about starting on your entrepreneurial journey?
I think I would just tell her that you don't have to be great at everything to be a successful business owner. You don't like for me, even though I got really lucky and I got some early clients off Instagram, in general, I'm not good at like marketing myself. It's just not a skill that I have. And so now I've brought on marketing help, and it's so much better for me. But I feel like for the first year or two, I just really felt like it's almost like your baby, your business, right? So you don't it's so hard to let go of any part of it. You feel like you have to do it all yourself. It all has to come from you, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I think it's okay if you are not 100% great at every single part of your business. It's okay to give parts of it away when you can, because that is obviously a financial piece to
Mm.
that. But once you're in that place, to be able to let go, it's okay. And it doesn't make you less like of a business owner or something, that you're not
Mm.
great at every single thing
Yeah.
that is within a business.
And I think actually that knowledge that there are things you're not great at, and it's your time is better spent doing the stuff that does make you money. One of the first best pieces of advice I've ever been given is stop trying to do shit you're no good at. Focus on stuff you're brilliant at. Like pay
Exactly.
someone else to do the stuff you don't like or you're not good at. Like focus on the stuff that is your superpower, because that's actually a better way of running it. And it was such a brilliant piece of advice, but an amazing, very experienced entrepreneur. And I have tried to live my life in my entrepreneurial journey like that. So last question, Rachel. The big one about the future. What is your mission from Systems Rani? What's your big, crazy, scary ambition for the business?
Yeah, I really want to grow it to be more than just me. So, where I think there's just so many businesses out there that need that sort of support. And I want to be, I think what will happen is that I'll bring in people to help me with the implementation first, because I do both the strategy and the implementation.
Mm.
Um, and then kind of train them on the strategy part as well. But ideally, I would like to grow it so that there's multiple Rachels that people can work with, and really help bring the relief to their teams, and not just me. Yeah.
Brilliant. A system built on Rachel's. I love that. There
Yeah.
you go. That's a marketing slogan for you. A system built on Rachel's. Brilliant. Well, Rachel, thank you for sharing your story with us, and that journey, which I know lots of the founders who listen will resonate with. That kind of necessity of going off and doing something which gives you more control, I think, is a really common theme for women, and sharing what you do and your highs and lows and your little tidbits of advice. So thank you.